Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel, and this is my updated review for Fast and Furious 6, which came out in 2013, and I already reviewed this movie before. Obviously, I rewatched the movie before doing this review, but I also watched my original review for maybe the first time ever since I edited it, and man, I really... It was such a cringe-inducing experience to rewatch that video. I just kept pausing several times. It sounded so monotone and didn't know what I was talking about. I referred to Hobbs as Hob. Like, I really just wanted to, if I could, I would just rush into my computer screen if I could, look at 22-year-old me dead in the eyes, and just slap him across his face like, get your shit together. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this updated review. My personal rule when it comes to reviewing movies that I've already talked about on this channel is that they have to be from 2013. I've made some exceptions to this rule in the past, sure, like when I re-reviewed all the MCU movies in prep for Endgame, or when I've done a couple of compilation reviews like I did with the Star Wars films. But when it comes to a single review for a single movie, if it's from 2013, I have no problem doing another review for it, like I did with Superman, Batman, and now Fast and Furious 6. But anything 2014 and beyond, I don't think it's worth touching. So this movie takes place sometime after Fast 5. Dominic Toretto and his crew have successfully pulled off their bank heist in Rio. They're all living the millionaire life. Some of them are living the quiet life. Dom is now in a relationship with Alina, Hobbs' old partner from the last movie. Brian and Mia are now parents and have a little son named Jack. And everything seems to be going smoothly. Everyone's at peace. That is until Luke Hobbs comes back into play. He approaches Dominic Toretto with an offer to help him take out this international terrorist group led by Owen Shaw, played by Luke Evans. Dom refuses at first, but when it's revealed that Letty has survived the events of the fourth movie and is actually a part of Shaw's crew, that's what motivates Toretto and his crew to work with Hobbs and his new partner, played by Gina Carano, to try to stop this international crime syndicate. And in return, Letty comes back, and they also get full pardons, allowing them to return to the United States. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you a story. I want to take you back to the year 2013. It was a more simple time. I was 22 years old, I was young, I was naive, I went to school at UC Santa Cruz. The world was a more peaceful place, a more laid-back place. The very notion of Donald Trump even becoming president wasn't a thing. There was no coronavirus. It was a great year. It was also the year I first started this YouTube channel, The Real Mr. Robinson. Although back in the day it was known as The Cinemas with Mr. Robinson, which it's not as catchy. But anyway, on Memorial Day weekend, I decided, you know what? I am going to dedicate my time to this channel and try to review every movie that I can, or at least go to the theater at least once a week to give you guys a review. And that weekend saw the release of two movies, The Hangover Part 3 and Fast and Furious 6. I saw both of them back to back as a double feature at two different theaters. I first saw The Hangover Part 3 at one theater, hated it, absolutely hated that movie, and walked out angry. So immediately I walked to the other theater, which in downtown Santa Cruz, walking distance to these two theaters, which were owned by the same company, Regal, was 5 minutes. A 5-minute walking distance from both theaters. But anyway, maybe less, but that's not the point. Anyway, after being so pissed off at The Hangover Part 3, I went to the other theater to watch Fast and Furious 6. This is the first Fast and Furious movie I've seen since the first three movies. I did not watch Fast and Furious and Fast 5 prior to this, and I don't know if it was because I hated The Hangover Part 3 so much, or Fast and Furious 6 was just that fun, but I had a lot of fun with the movie, and it made me interested in the franchise going forward. It made me want to revisit the older movies, made me want to watch Fast and Furious and Fast 5 for the first time. So I'd watched this movie in segments throughout the years. I never actually watched it from beginning to end again up until right now. And 8 years later, this movie is still just as fun as it was back in 2013. Although I gotta say, it is not as good as Fast 5. When I reviewed Fast 5, I talked about that list I made of the 10 most overrated movies of the last decade, in my opinion. Well, I also made a video of my 10 picks picks for my favorite guilty pleasure movies of the last decade, and Fast and Furious 6 actually popped up on that list. And I honestly don't feel that guilty about saying I like this movie. Everything that was great about Fast 5 is still present right here. The cast is still spot on, the chemistry between all the team members is great, it's a better comedy than The Hangover Part 3, even if some of those laughs are unintentional. I'll get back to some of those unintentional laughs later because I have stuff to say. And it's just a really, really fun movie. I don't know what else to say. I'm actually surprised that this is considered one of the lesser movies in the series because I like it quite a bit. And I think the one aspect about the movie that actually drew me to it when I first saw it was the plot. It's like, wow, you know what? This is a big, loud, dumb action movie, but it has heart. It's a story about family. Dominic Toretto's trying to win back Letty, who has lost her memory and has turned on the team, which is kind of an old plot cliche, but for a movie this dumb and this bombastic, for them to have those subtle moments and those intimate moments with family, it's actually something I admire. It's something that worked well in the last movie, and it's something that would work in the next movie as well, until it got to the point of parody, starting with Fate of the Furious. But it works for this movie. The newer cast members in this movie help elevate it as well. I think Owen Shaw as a villain is much more interesting and has more personality than Hernan Reyes from Fast 5. And then you also have Gina Carano, aka the only actress stupid enough to get herself fired from Star Wars. Okay, that's the only critique I'm going to mention of her because as much as I really dislike her views and just her overall attitude on social media, especially last year, she actually works in this movie. She's not really that good of an actress, all things considered, but she works in this film. And the reason you get someone like Gina Carano for this type of movie is to have some really impressive fight choreography. And she has 2 fight sequences between Michelle Rodriguez that are actually well filmed. They're well choreographed, they're exciting. All the action in this movie is still just as good as the first movie, and there's a little more hand-to-hand combat this time around. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of action scenes involving fast cars. There's that chase in London with those tiny cars that have scoops in the front of them. That's exciting. The chase on the freeway in Spain's pretty intense, even if it gets a little too over the top with the tank. And you know what, I'll save that moment later. I'll save it for later. But that sequence does have one of my favorite lines in the series, and probably the one thing that the writer's room leans on whenever they have to think of methods to escalate the franchise or just make another sequel. Hey, we do what we do best. We improvise. And that line has always stuck with me, and as the series has progressed, I thought to myself, that's got to be the most meta line in the entire franchise. Now, there are some problems with this movie. I don't think it feels as long as Fast 5, but there is a subplot involving Brian where he has to travel back to Los Angeles as a convict in order to get information from John Ortiz's character from Fast and Furious. And I just feel like it drags the movie. It's almost like this subplot just got into a 1970s Charger and just slammed on the brakes because the whole subplot is so pointless. All it does is just give us a more detailed explanation on how Letty didn't die in Fast and Furious. And it just, I don't know, it doesn't work for me. And it's something that I completely forgot whenever this movie pops up in my mind. So when I was watching this movie again today, I was like, oh yeah, this subplot. Even back in 2013, I wasn't fond of this because I had no idea what was going on. But now that I have more context, there's a lot in this movie where I go, okay, this was from that movie. It's still not very good though. And that's the only major complaint that I really have, outside the fact that it's just not as exciting as Fast 5. And I want to talk about those unintentionally funny moments because one of them is something that always makes me laugh. And the second is something that I didn't realize the first time I saw this movie. And then as the years went on, wait a minute. The first moment is that sequence in Spain with the tank. There's this part in the movie where Letty is launched in the air because the tank flips. Dom jumps catches Letty in midair and crashes into the windshield of another car to break their fall. And when I first saw this movie in theaters, I think because it was a Friday afternoon, there may have been, I don't know, I think maybe 10 people, including myself. Santa Cruz is a college town, so I can't imagine a lot of people were watching a movie on a Friday afternoon. But anyway, when that moment popped up, I was the only guy laughing, and every time I rewatched that clip, I could play that clip over and over again. I laugh hard, like it's just a high-pitched every time it happens. Like I turn into Robert De Niro from Cape Fear. And then the second thing is that 26-mile-long runway. The big finale of the movie. I never put this together when watching it for the first time. But that airplane that Shaw and his team are trying to escape on is going down a 26-mile-long runway because that action scene goes on forever. It's a fun action scene, don't get me wrong, and it's got a lot of great moments to it, but yeah, let me put this into perspective for some of you out there, how long this runway is. If you were to drive from Universal Studios Hollywood to Disneyland, that's 35 miles. So this runway is 9 miles short of a drive from Universal to Disneyland. Are you kidding me? Like, it's so stupid, I can't even get mad at it. And I read an interview with Chris Morgan where he talks about this 26-mile-long runway, and he pretty much says, well, if the audience isn't paying attention to it and they're having as much fun with the action scene as they are, then I don't think it's really a problem. I'm paraphrasing that, and I gotta find that article, and I'll leave it in the description below if you guys want to read it. But he was right. I was having so much fun with Fast and Furious 6 that it didn't even occur to me that this runway was 26 miles long. Wow. Oh man, that is a that's comedy right there. Unintentionally comedy, but it's comedy that puts a smile on my face even right now. Oh man. And then the topper, well, I guess the thing that opens this sequence is, okay, I gotta stop smiling. This sequence is breaking me. This sequence breaks me. Okay, hang on guys. Okay. Serious critic mode right now. But the thing that really kind of sets off this scene and how ridiculous it can be is when that airplane first appears, when Brian looks up to see what's landing above them. And this was another thing that I didn't even pay attention to when I saw it in theaters. But when I rewatched the sequence and that plane first pops up, I went, did that airplane just roar? And, like, it's the same roar that's used on the Jurassic Park River Adventure at Islands of Adventure. This right here is a video that I took of the Jurassic Park River Adventure way back in 2008. And this is the roar that is used for when that plane lands in this movie. And the moment that happened, I was just like, wow, okay. And I love the interaction between Tej and Roman when that sequence happens, because at first they don't see the plane, and Roman says, where does he think he's going? We're on an airbase, he's trapped. And then when the airplane shows up and roars, Tej says, wow, you just had to open your mouth. Now we got a big ass plane to deal with. And Roman replies by saying, that ain't a plane, that's a planet. And I'm just thinking, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but neither does this 26-mile runway. This movie is ridiculous. It's absurd, it's over the top, it's a cartoon, but I still have fun with it. I think there are 4 Fast and Furious movies that I will rewatch, and that's 1, 5, 6, and 7. And 6 is probably my least favorite of the bunch, but I still like it quite a bit. Because for all its ridiculous moments, for all its over-the-top, outlandish, and again, dare I say, ludicrous scenarios, I really do feel like there's a sense of earnesty with this movie. I was invested in the plot. I want to see Dom and his team bring Letty back, complete this assignment, and that way they can go home and be free. And if it wasn't for the fact that this series kept continuing, this would be a great ending to the franchise. I mean, sure, Han gets the short end of the stick with it because he loses his girlfriend, which I don't believe that for a second. I think Gal Gadot is going to come back in one of the last two movies. And then, of course, there's the fact that, you know, he dies in Tokyo, but still feels like a happy ending, and I'd say it's good. This was the same rating that I gave the movie when I saw it 8 years ago. Good, but not great. With the 6th movie, you should know what you're getting into, but I feel like the 1st and 5th movie are maybe the more accessible to ones that can't deal with this outlandish action. But still, if you can embrace this movie for what it is, it's a ton of fun. And there you go, that's my review for Fast and Furious 6. If you want to watch my original review and just cringe along, it's available on the channel. In fact, here's a link to it right here. Go check it out. But yeah, the series would continue. This wasn't the last one, because in 2015 we got Furious 7, which is my favorite of the series. Probably because of the way it gives Paul Walker a very nice send-off. This was his last movie, and much like with Fast and Furious 6, for as outlandish and over-the-top as Furious 7 got, there's a lot of heart to it, and that ending really does get me every time. Then we got Fate of the Furious in 2017, which has its moments. It's not a complete loss, and it's better than Too Fast, Too Furious, but it's the point in the series where I feel like Vin Diesel started taking these movies more seriously than they should. The only saving grace of the movie were the two actors that understand the type of series that this is now, and that's Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. And they were the best parts of the 8th movie, to the point where they got their own spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw, in 2019, which a lot of people don't like. I actually like this movie. It's ridiculous, sure, it's dumb, but it's a lot of fun, and for me, it's kind of the middle point of the series. It's like that wall that divides the good movies and the bad movies. So this begs the ultimate question. Where will F9 land? I have no idea. I hope it's a good movie. I mean, you got Justin Lin coming back as director, but without Dwayne Johnson and without Paul Walker being side by side with Vin Diesel, I really don't have that much faith in it. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong in saying that this movie's gonna be trash. I hope I'm wrong, because this looks like it's a ton of fun, but I mean, we'll see. When I see F9, I will give you my review, and I hope it's good. I hope I'm wrong and that it's going to be bad. But until then, I want to know what you guys think about Fast and Furious 6. If you've seen it, what did you think? Whatever the case may be, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one. Hello everyone, I just wanted to say thank you all for watching my review for Fast and Furious 6. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, go check out my Twitch channel, and support me on Patreon. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day, and take care of yourselves.